7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, was a global conflict involving Britain, Prussia, France, Austria, Spain, and Russia. Known as the First True World War, it was fought across Europe, North America, South America, Africa, and Asia. The war stemmed from rivalries over colonial territories, trade dominance, and political alliances, with the North American front also called the French and Indian War. Key events included the Battle of Plassey in 1757, where Britain gained control over India, and the British capture of Quebec in 1759, ending French colonial ambitions in North America. Prussian King Frederick the Great's strategies also played a crucial role. The 1763 Treaty of Paris ended the war, with France ceding much of its North American territories to Britain, including Canada and Florida, and transferring Louisiana to Spain. This reshaped global power, boosting the British Empire and diminishing French colonial influence. But what if France had won? Had France won the 7 Years' War, the geopolitical landscape of the 18th century and beyond would have been dramatically altered. The repercussions of a French victory would have extended across continents, influencing the development of nations, empires, and global power dynamics in profound ways. In this alternate history, France's victory would mean that its vast territorial claims in North America, including Canada and the Ohio Valley, remained firmly under French control. The British colonies, deprived of expansionist opportunities, would face significant restrictions. French Canada, bolstered by continued immigration and investment from the French crown, would become a thriving hub of trade and culture. Cities like Quebec and Montreal would grow into major centers of commerce and influence, rivaling the largest European cities. Without the unifying threat of a French presence to the north, the American colonies might not have felt the same urgency to unite. The push for independence from Britain could have been delayed or taken a different form, potentially resulting in a fragmented series of states rather than a united country. Alternatively, some British colonies might have sought alliances or even integration with French territories to resist British control, leading to a more complex and diverse political landscape in North America. A defeat in the 7 Years' War would have forced Britain to reconsider its imperial ambitions. The loss of key territories in North America and the Caribbean would necessitate a strategic pivot. The British might have focused more intently on expanding their influence in India and Africa, seeking to compensate for losses elsewhere. This shift could have accelerated British involvement in the Indian subcontinent, potentially leading to earlier and more intensive colonization efforts. The economic impact of losing lucrative colonies would have been significant. Britain would have had to find new markets and resources to support its economy, potentially leading to increased trade with other parts of the world. The development of the Industrial Revolution might have taken a different trajectory, with technological and industrial advancements being driven by different needs and priorities. For France, victory in the 7 Years' War would bring enormous benefits. Retaining control over its North American territories would provide access to vast natural resources, including fur, timber, and agricultural products. The wealth generated from these colonies would bolster the French economy and allow for increased investment in infrastructure and military capabilities. In addition to material gains, a victorious France would enjoy enhanced prestige on the global stage. French language, culture, and political influence would spread more widely, particularly in North America and the Caribbean. The success in the war would reinforce the Bourbon monarchy's legitimacy and power, potentially delaying or altering the course of the French Revolution. The sense of national pride and unity following such a significant victory could have strengthened the monarchy's position and staved off internal dissent. The balance of power in India would also be affected by a French victory. Without British dominance established through victories like the Battle of Plassey, French and British East India companies would continue to vie for control over Indian territories. This prolonged competition could have led to a more divided subcontinent, with different regions aligning with either France or Britain based on their interests and alliances. The French approach to colonization, which often involved more integration with local cultures and economies compared to the British, might have resulted in different social and economic developments in India. French influence in the region could have fostered different administrative systems, trade practices, and cultural exchanges, potentially leading to a more blended Indo-French society. In Europe, the repercussions of a French victory would resonate through the corridors of power. The balance of power would shift, with France emerging as the preeminent continental power. Britain's defeat would weaken its position in European politics, while Austria, Spain, and Russia would need to reassess their alliances and strategies. The French victory might have emboldened other nations to challenge British maritime dominance, leading to a more multipolar world. Spain, having retained its territories in exchange for aiding France, would maintain its colonial holdings in the Americas and Asia. Russia, observing the shifting power dynamics, might have pursued more aggressive expansionist policies in Eastern Europe and Asia. The cultural impact of a French victory would be significant. The French language, already a lingua franca among European elites, would gain even more prominence worldwide. French art, literature, and philosophy would find wider audiences, influencing cultural developments across the globe. Socially, the French approach to governance and society, characterized by a certain level of integration and cooperation with local populations, might have led to different colonial legacies. The relationships between colonizers and colonized could have been less adversarial in some regions, fostering a more diverse and multicultural global society. The alternate history of a French victory in the 7 Years' War presents a fascinating scenario of a world transformed by different colonial, economic, and cultural dynamics. The implications of such a victory would ripple across continents, altering the trajectories of nations and empires. While the exact outcomes remain speculative, this reimagined history underscores the profound impact of the 7 Years' War on the modern world and invites us to consider how different our global landscape might be if France had emerged victorious.